Tonight, we're talking with the Republican Accountability Project, a Republican-backed political action committee aimed at fighting disinformation within the party and upholding democracy. Gunnar Raymer is with us tonight, the political director of the committee. Gunnar, what stood out to you the most today when it came to that final judgment on former President Donald Trump?
Yeah, sure. I think I can speak to what the January 6th committee was all about from the very beginning. It was a bipartisan committee with, Republican and Democrats on the committee, and it was about prosecuting the case against Donald Trump and those around him who tried to overturn a free and fair election. And throughout the summer, the committee did a very good job prosecuting the case. And today was the final sort of, this is the report, and this is what we've laid out. And I was amazed by the committee's findings over the summer. And I think that what was shown today is that they had to issue a criminal referral against a former president of the United States for trying to overturn a free and fair election. And not only that, but 4 members of Congress as well. And I think that this is an indictment on the modern day Republican Party. And it's ultimately disappointing, but I think that we as a country can be proud of the committee's work.
And let's break down all of that, starting with the 4 criminal referrals to the Justice Department. What happens next? Will they actually go after Trump here?
Yeah, it's an open question as to what the next steps are. And I think in a lot of ways, it's too soon to tell. I also want to speak to something else, though, that I think that the January 6th committee's work has done effectively, and that is weaken Donald Trump's stance within the Republican Party even. And we do focus groups all the time with Republican primary voters, and they do like Donald Trump still. But we saw this post during and shortly after the January 6 hearings in the summer, but we're hearing it too post midterms. A lot of his candidates lost in November. A lot of these anti-democracy Trump picked endorsed candidates lost. They were unsuccessful in what was supposed to be a very good year for Republicans. But I think that this adds to the narrative that Donald Trump has a lot of baggage. And even with Republican primary voters that still very much like him as a person, or they like the job he did as president, it's just too much baggage for them. And I think that that's another key part of what the January 6th committee did.
And that leads me to my final question, Gunnar. How was the insurrection and the fallout, along with all of the commentary from Trump, how did that hurt the Republican Party, and how do they go about rebuilding now?
Yeah, short term on the Republican Party, I'm not too optimistic. Actually, I'm pessimistic about it. Long term, I'm more optimistic. From our perspective, listen, we're a group of Republicans, former Republicans, conservatives who cannot stand Donald Trump's takeover of the Republican Party and the forces that he has unleashed on it. I think the good news for us and our democracy is that his handpicked candidates lost. Again, we do focus groups all the time. Voters have very real concerns with crime and inflation, gas prices, particularly over the summer, they were rising. However, at the end of the day, voters, just enough of them, a significant amount of them, Democrats, and then these more independent-minded Republicans decided to reject these Donald Trump-like candidates. So I think that right now, the Republican Party needs sustained electoral defeat. It happened a little bit in 2018. Donald Trump lost in 2020, and a bunch of his hand-picked candidates in swing states across the country lost. And I think that that is good for the overall health of our democracy.
And Gunnar, we'll have to wait and see how this impacts his bid for the presidency in 2024. Thank you for being with us tonight on Trending Now.
Thanks for having me.